So today I wanted to talk about something that's been on my mind recently and something that I think can help somebody when they're going through this same thing or these types of feelings if they're going through something similar. As you can see, like the title of the video will be relationships. Instead of talking about like relationships with like the opposite sex, I think it could be universal as far as relationships with other people as well. In my past, dealing with a breakup or not having a friend or a person that you would spend time with, whenever there's a time where you or I have had a relationship with someone, say it's a friend, a guy friend, or a girlfriend, and within that time frame or whatever that is, when things are going well, that's great. When you're very busy, it's very easy to get lost in that in a good way because you might fall in love with somebody or you might have like a really good relationship with a friend or whatnot and things are going well, and getting lost in it is amazing because that time that you spent with that other person, like you're never gonna get back, but at least you went through that experience with that other person. To say that you felt those things, which is like a blessing to feel those beautiful thoughts and emotions and have those like beautiful memories that one time you felt really good doing whatever it was with this other person. And when that time ends, basically kind of what I want to talk about. Like what you do after that time ends. I think really test myself as an individual. Like it's good to ask yourself, how much do you love yourself? And especially when you go through tough like breakups or like when you end any kind of relationship. Sometimes it's not under your control when you end those relationships, which is totally fine. But whenever that time does come, I think it's important to really understand what it is that you're feeling and not not block that feeling or try to feel that feeling with like things that like with temptation, because that doesn't really help anything. I feel like what really helps is when you sit in your own thoughts and like think about, all right, what is this temptation that I'm getting? Is it going to fulfill me? Am I going to get any type of fulfillment with what I'm thinking about doing right now? And should I do that? Sometimes you're going to do it. Sometimes you're going to have to go through those experiences to learn whatever it was that you needed to learn within that time. Yeah, I think it's just so important when you break up with somebody to really value that time that you have alone. I was watching a Matthew McConaughey podcast. He said something within the lines of like, I like to be alone, but lonely is different. And that's, do not quote me on that because that is not how he said it. But what I got from that was like, all right, I'm alone and I like to be alone, but I'm not lonely, because although I am alone, but being lonely is like you don't have any type of foundation or really like love for yourself if you say you're lonely, because you spend most of the time in your day speaking to yourself more than you talk to anybody else. So if I'm talking to myself more than I'm talking to anybody throughout the day, I would want to try to be my own best friend, really like create a relationship with myself in my own head. I know that kind of sounds a little weird, but yeah, I'm alone, but I'm not lonely. And I'm alone, but I'm with myself. I don't need anything that's external to fulfill myself internally. And temptation is a fucking hard thing to deal with. Well, at least for me, I think it's better to just think about what it is I'm going to do. Keep reminding myself that, oh, I don't have to do this. Someone else wants me to do something. I don't have to do that either. Like, I'm on my own time and I could do whatever it is that I want to do. I'm on my own pace as far as how I'm going to go about my situation and what I'm going through. I also feel like when you are no longer with that other person and spending time with that other person as much as you were, I think that just gives myself another reason to dive deeper or dive back into valuing my time by myself. What I mean by that is like, what happens when you are by yourself? What are you thinking about? What is it that you want to do? And when I say you, I mean like me, because I'm just talking about how I go about my situation. I think it's most effective to think about those things and just ask yourself, all right, now that I'm here, God brought me to this position or this place in my life. What am I going to do with it? Once you learn how to value yourself at a certain level, you will know when you're in some type of situation, if you're sad and you're going through something, but you have a certain level of awareness when those times come, you won't dig yourself a hole or just let negative emotions, thoughts, energy consume your day to day interactions with other people, interactions with yourself, like so on and so forth. I think that's so crucial. If people don't take the time to think about, like, hey, like, all right, like, I'm not talking to anybody right now. What am I going to do? And not a lot of people try to take a step back, genuinely try to be most effective. Whenever you stop associating yourself with certain people, it might feel like, oh, you have nobody and a lot of your time is spent alone and this and that. That's going to happen because not everybody is going to stick with you throughout your whole life. So if you do lose certain friends or not, don't associate yourself with people or break up with somebody, at some point you're gonna have to realize that you need to go back to, if you haven't already, or start something new with the relationship you have with yourself. Although everybody makes mistakes and people learn through those mistakes, it can be very helpful to try to learn from other people's mistakes and observing. So if you look at someone going through something, earlier I was talking about temptation, like if you don't want to be associated with that type of energy of like lust, surrounding yourself around energy that you don't feel good with, but just doing that because you feel like you need to feel some type of hole unconsciously, instead of knowing that you can fulfill that love, that space with love by yourself, through yourself. I just think that's way healthier. I think that's helped me recently in my life. And also doing things productive, like either if you have goals in your mind, goals that you want to achieve, or just certain things that you like to do, if it's like a hobby or whatever, I think trying to like double down on doing those things and like focusing on those things will give you more joy on a day-to-day basis, or just like at least you can enjoy your life a little more if life's at a low. Like when it was at the high, when you were with that other person, even though life's not going to be easy and like we say we're on a high, but like life always finds its way to go back down to a low and whatnot. But when you were with that other person and you were on that high, like even during those times, it's really good to think about these things of valuing yourself, valuing your time with yourself, the love you have for yourself, asking yourself these questions. So you give yourself that importance, like you will just feel better living that experience with that other person while you're with that other person. And yeah, God forbid, well, and things happen for the better. And when they do, and if something like that happens where you do break up with somebody, it's okay. And you could just result back to what is it that makes you feel good? What is it that makes me feel good? Because ultimately, everything that we do, it's because we want to feel good. That'll even make your time in your relationship better. Like, all right, what is gonna make me feel good? If that's pure intention, if you have pure intention and then you're truthful and honest to yourself first about the things that you are going to do or thoughts that you have in your mind or goals that you have. If you act upon that and say and like think about what is the best way I could go about this because I want to feel good. It's never a bad thing if you're doing that and if you come with that intention. It's not really a long conversation, but it is something that I've been thinking about. And I think it's a good thing to think about. Also, a lot of people don't talk about this when you do lose somebody or if you do break up with somebody. What you do after that, that mindset that you have is crucial to just think about moving forward so you could save yourself from a lot of not wasted time, but just putting yourself into situations that where you aren't feeling good. This is a constant or like a journey that never ends of loving yourself, being grateful of what our creator has given us and through that loving yourself. I think that that journey will never end and I think every time you go through a breakup, you lose somebody, you lose a friend or whatever, you're always on that journey, on that path, but certain things get put in that path for you to be challenged to see what is it that you're going to do moving forward with the situation and how you're going to deal with it and how you're going to grow from it because all we do is evolve and grow as life goes on and we mature and get better. That's how the human species is. Yeah. Thank you for listening. If you made it this far, that's dope. If anybody relates to what I did talk about, that's dope. That's great. It'd be interesting to know if somebody does relate to this and or is going through like the same thing of battling like who am I or what am I gonna do or yeah, like finding their identity while going through a new experience or a reoccurring experience that you've had in the past. Yeah, so thank you, and we'll see we'll see what I talk about next time. I don't know. Peace.